it's been 2 years, 4 months and 20 days, a total of 872 days since Daystar Peterson, better known to the world as Tory Lanez, was sentenced to 10 years in prison after being found guilty of assaulting rapper Megan Thee Stallion.
So I get out the car and it's like everything happens and all I hear is this man screaming, he said, dance, and he started shooting, and I'm just like, oh my God. I didn't want to move too quick, cause I'm like, oh my God, if I take the wrong step, I don't know if he can shoot something that's like super important. I don't know if he could shoot me and kill me.
Now, he serves his time in the California Correction Institution in Tehachapi on the morning of May the 13th, 2025, just 2 months after the release of his 8th studio album, Peterson, which he recorded from behind bars. Tragedy struck at around 7:20 a.m. in the cold, echoing corridors of the prison's housing unit. 42-year-old inmate Santino Casio approached Tory, armed with a shank crudely fashioned from scrap metal. It happened in an instant. 7 deep punches to his back, 4 brutal stabs to his torso, 2 vicious blows to the back of his head, and 1 jagged slash across the left side of his face. Both of his lungs collapsed, blood pooled, thick and dark, spreading across the concrete floor as chaos unfolded. Shouts of alarm bounced off the cement walls. Guards sprinted to the scene. Prisoners stood froze, the echo of violence lingering in the stale prison air. They immediately called 911. Tory would lay on the concrete floor, gasping for air, his body twisted in agony, eyes wide in disbelief. His injuries were so severe, he had to be lifted from the facility, rushed to a nearby hospital, where he now remains in stable condition, clinging for his life, reportedly in good spirits. The attacker, Santino Casio, was swiftly charged with attempted murder of Daystar Peterson, and for those familiar with his history, the brutality came as no surprise. Casio is no stranger to violence. His record stretches back to 2004, an unbroken string of carnage: second-degree murder, attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, causing grievous injury to another person. His rap sheet reads like a tragedy stained in blood, but it's his original conviction that chills the bones. Santino Casio was just 22 years old when he committed an act so savage it left scars on an entire community. His victim, a 13-year-old girl named Evelyn Brenda, his own girlfriend. According to the courtroom testimony, moments before the tragedy, relatives had Casio and his 13-year-old girlfriend arguing, shouting, tension thick enough to suffocate. Then, the crack of a gunshot split the silence. Witnesses would later describe seeing him stumble off the apartment, pale, almost ghost-like, his eyes hollow with shock. Evelyn never stood a chance. Her life, her dreams, her future, all erased in an instant by someone who claimed to have loved her. Now, more than 2 decades later, that same unflinching violence had reared its head again, this time in the iron grip of the maximum security prison. And as Tory Lanez clings to life, the question lingers heavily in the air. Why? I want to take you through the last 2 years of Tory Lanez's life in California's maximum prison and find the answer to why a Canadian rapper would be a victim to such a brutal crime. From flying private jets to spend time with Tory Lanez in California, to later declaring that she genuinely believed he wanted to kill him on the chilling night of July the 12th, 2020, Megan Thee Stallion's story is one soaked in betrayal, fame, and trauma. That night in the Hollywood Hills, beneath the glittering illusion of celebrities and power, something irreversible happened. It all unfolded at the height of the global pandemic, a time when the world was shut inside, clinging to any form of digital escape. As platforms like YouTube, Netflix, and OnlyFans saw record-breaking numbers, Tory Lanez launched Quarantine Radio on Instagram Live, a wild, unfiltered show that quickly became the internet's guilty pleasure.
Hold on! No, we got 35,000 people that are walking in the club right now. 35,000! Wait, I'm sorry, I'm misreading. It's 40,000. 40,000! I'm sorry, there's some girls behind them. It's 45,000. 45,000! I'm sorry, I couldn't see all the do-rags and dreads. Focus! There's 50,000! 50,000! I am bugging. There is 55,000. 55,000! We forgot the white girls. There's 60,000 people in the club!
From outrageous stunts by clout-chasing fans to surprise appearances from megastars like Drake and Chris Brown.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. Clap with us one more time. Just one last time. We're going to leave it alone. I'm going to clap with you. Clap with us one more time, baby. Clap with the audience, baby. With the long... Oh. Hold on. Drake has just walked into the... We got Drake live! Hey, we officially just broke the Taylor Swift record for 156,000 people live on her live. Drake, what are you doing?
I am checking in on Quarantine Radio from the north side, coming live for all the ladies and all the gents.
He's coming live!
Oh,
Quarantine Live. Chris Brown, can you sing one line for us live? One line,
Yeah,
only one.
One line.
2 or 3 words. No, wait, as a matter of fact, we're not making Chris Brown sing because you know what? We know by default he can sing!
Tory Lanez was pulling in numbers that rivaled network television, and on May the 20th, Megan Thee Stallion, Grammy-winning and on top of the world, made her debut on the show.
We got Megan Thee Stallion! Oh my God! Wait, Meg, hold on! Meg, hold on! Meg, hold on! She brought them. Hold on, everybody be quiet. In this very moment, Meg has just brought the Instagram live to 104,000!
Their chemistry was undeniable. It wasn't long after Megan flew to Los Angeles to spend time with Tory, even appearing once more on his Instagram live from the City of Angels.
Hold on. Official shot o'clock. Live right here on Quarantine Radio.
Quarantine.
This has just turned into Quarantine Radio in about 5 seconds.
Quarantine.
But what began as flirty banter would soon spiral into a nightmare. On the evening of July the 12th, Kylie Jenner hosted a pool party in her Hollywood Hills mansion. Amongst the guests were Megan, her best friend Kelsey Harris, and Tory Lanez. But as the night wore on and they left Megan's house, tensions exploded in the SUV. Rumors swirled that Kelsey had discovered that Megan had secretly been involved with Tory, a betrayal that shattered their friendship and sparked a heated argument between the three. Tory's security guard eventually pulled the car over near the 1800 block of Nichols Canyon Street. That's when Megan, real name Megan Pete, got out of the car and tried walking away from the chaos. But as soon as she did, shouting continued from inside the vehicle. She turned around. Then came the gunfire. A firearm discharged multiple times in her direction. She was struck in the foot as shots echoed through the quiet neighborhood. Terrified residents called 911. The news would soon erupt into a media frenzy.
Megan Thee Stallion is recovering after suffering multiple gunshot wounds over the weekend. She confirmed in a statement that she was involved in an incident on Sunday, July 13th, that resulted in her hospitalization. The 25-year-old rapper took to Instagram to clarify details on what allegedly happened, writing that on Sunday morning she suffered gunshot wounds as a result of a crime committed against her with the intention of causing her harm. She goes on to say that she was never arrested and that police drove her to the hospital where she underwent surgery to remove the bullets. Additionally, a spokesperson for the LAPD has stated, at the time Megan Thee Stallion was with police, she did not report that she was the victim of any crime.
And following the gunshots that echoed through the Hollywood Hills, the LAPD would be rushed to the scene. A moment captured on surveillance footage was later published by TMZ. In a grainy footage, we see a shaken Megan Thee Stallion, visibly distressed, fully cooperating with officers. At first, she told them she simply stepped on broken glass. That's what she said, but it wasn't the whole truth. Later, at the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, doctors would remove bullet fragments from Megan's foot. This wasn't an accident. This was something far more serious. Back at the scene, LAPD officers conducted a routine search of Tory Lanez's SUV. On the floorboard of the front passenger seat, they discovered an olive green 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The weapon was unregistered and no one claimed ownership. No fingerprints tied to a specific hand, but the damage was done. And so, in the chaos that unfolded that night, Daystar Peterson, the man known to the world as Tory Lanez, was taken into custody on suspicion of possessing an illegal firearm. But this was only the beginning of a long, painful saga.
The DA's office says Lanez, whose legal name is Daystar Peterson, shot Megan's feet during an argument in the Hollywood Hills July 12th. The 28-year-old was arrested the night of the shooting, but was released after posting bail. He now faces 2 felony charges and is set to be arraigned Tuesday in LA. If convicted, he faces up to 23 years in prison.
As part of the ongoing investigation, Megan, real name Megan Pete, was interviewed multiple times on July the 16th and again on November the 12th, 2020. Her story changed. She opened up. She told LAPD detective Ryan Stogner that she hadn't stepped on glass, but in fact had been shot, and Tory Lanez was the one who pulled the trigger.
I'm not gonna let y'all keep playing in my face, and I'm not gonna let this keep playing in my face either. Yes, this Tory shot me. You shot me. and you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and stop lying. It was like, oh, she mad because he shot Kylie. No, I wasn't. You dry shot me. Like, everybody in the car, it's only 4 in the car. Me, you, my homegirl, and your security. Everybody in the car arguing. I'm in the front seat, this in the back seat. I get out the car, I'm done arguing. I don't want to argue no more. I get out. I'm walking away. This from out the back seat of the car starts shooting me. You shot me. I ain't get cut by no glass.
Megan explained that her initial silence was born out of fear and trauma and the weight of being a black woman in America. She was terrified, not just of Tory, but of the police, of the headlines, of what it might mean to tell the truth in a world that often punishes black women for simply surviving. On August the 20th, 2020, she'd go on Instagram Live and fully speak her truth. Her voice cracked in pain and exhaustion. She explained that there had been an argument in the car. She, her friend, Tory, and the bodyguard were all riding home from a gathering in Kylie Jenner's house. The argument escalated. Megan got out of the vehicle, and that's when, according to her, Tory opened fire from the backseat. When police arrived, Megan didn't tell them what really happened because she was in fear of her life. The police were literally killing people for no motherfucking reason, she said, referencing the recent killing of George Floyd and others at the time. You think I'm about to tell the police that us, as black people, got a gun in the car?
I ain't get cut by no glass, but let me tell you why they saying that. When the police came, because the neighbors called the police, this did not happen at Kylie's house. This happened damn near back at the house I was staying at. The police come, I'm scared. All going on with the police is shooting for anything. The police was literally black people for no fucking reason. Soon as the police tell us all get out of the car, the police is really aggressive. You think I'm about to tell the police that us black people, got a gun in the car? You want me to tell the laws that we got a gun in the car so they can shoot all of us up? Scared. Helicopter over us.
For weeks, the internet speculated. People begged Tory to speak, to tell his side, to clear the air. And then, on September the 25th, instead of releasing a statement or an interview, Tory Lanez dropped his 5th studio album, Daystar. Not a confession, not a denial, but an album. The lyrics reflect pain, betrayal, and defiance. On Money Over Fallout, the raw and controversial intro on Tory Lanez's Daystar album, he takes aim at Megan Thee Stallion's trauma with the lines that cut like knives. How the you get shot in your foot, don't hit no bones and tendons. It was more than just a denial. It was a public gaslighting of a black woman who had gone on Instagram Live weeks prior, tearfully naming Tory as the man who shot her in July 2020 during the heated altercation in the Hollywood Hills. That night, one where alcohol, jealousy, and fame collided in a car would spark one of the most polarizing scandals in recent hip-hop memory. Tory didn't just question the injury, he weaponized intimacy and betrayal. Don't forget you was I held it down and kept it real. I would never paint a fake picture of you just for some meals, and I thought that you were solid too, but look at how you doing me. Look at how you doing me. People trying to ruin me. And what's even worse is I'm still thinking about you and me. How you going live on my birthday with all your jewelry to try and make some fool of me. The lyrics blurred the lines between denial, victim blaming, and heartbreak, pulling people into a twisted emotional web. For many, it wasn't just rap. It was a man accused of shooting a woman using music to challenge her truth and sway public opinion before court could. But the justice system did move. On October the 20th, 2020, after Lane's musical rebuttal, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office formally charged him with felony assault and using a semi-automatic firearm. The victim exited the vehicle, and Peterson is accused of shooting several times at her feet and wounding her. The statement read, "This was no ambiguity from the law's side." Megan, who was 25 at the time, not 24 as some reports claimed, had suffered real injuries. Tory was also charged with carrying a loaded unregistered firearm alongside a personal injury enhancement for the alleged shooting. In the following months, Megan sought and was granted a restraining order, legally requiring Tory to stay 100 feet away from her. On CBS Mornings, Megan sat down with Gayle King, courageously telling her side of the story for the first time on national television. King asked a question that visibly rattled Megan. Did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Megan paused, her eyes flickered, her body language shifted. I didn't have a sexual relationship with the man.
What was the nature of your relationship with Tory Lanez? Because he has led people to believe that it was a sexual relationship, that it was that you two were dating. What was the nature?
We were not dating. We were really close. We were friends. We hung out like every day. And his mom passed too. So when I felt like we were bonding over that. And
Did you have an intimate relationship with him?
like sexual?
Yeah. Did you, Megan, did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Yes, that's my question.
I didn't have a sexual relationship with Tory.
A calm voice, a heavy lie, and a leaked footage months later, Megan admitted otherwise, a revelation that ignited further fire in the court of public opinion.
Yes, bitch, I lied to Gail King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that shit. Bitch was always gonna talk about the shooting. Why'd you ask me about fucking Tory? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I fucked this nigga like once, maybe twice, on a drunk night. Bitch, you kept catching me out of my fucking mind.
It wasn't just a case of violence, it had become a triangle of betrayal, with former best friend Kelsey Harris allegedly also entangled with romantically. The fallout, reportedly sparked by Megan's secret intimacy with Tory, added a new dimension of hurt, shame, and rage. As trial loomed, hip-hop began to pick sides, but it wasn't always with the victim. On September the 23rd, 2022, the baby dropped Blame It on Baby 2 and delivered a chilling revelation on Boogeyman. You was with me, that childish. The day before she said Tory Lanez shot her, I was fucking on Megan Thee Stallion. He wasn't just rapping, he was weaponizing sex, mocking trauma, and publicly reducing Megan Thee Stallion's pain to a punchline. Later, he doubled down by bringing Tory Lanez out as a surprise guest during his Rolling Loud set, knowing very well the court-ordered distance between Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, who was also performing at Rolling Loud that day.
One of my biggest critique when initially everything happened and the narratives were starting to fly, and at first people didn't know, but then it started going against you. I talked to you a bunch of times privately, but I always said, why doesn't Tory just explain to everybody? Just tell people what really happened.
The internet, like I said, is not a therapist. It doesn't matter what I say to those people online. Until it is in that black and white, it doesn't matter anyway. So there will be a time and a place. Maybe I make this shit look really beautiful, but I'm facing 24 years.
You don't seem too stressed, man.
Like, I'm facing 24 years. I make this shit look beautiful, don't I? But guys, I am actively facing 24 years next month.
Wow.
Like, this is not no play situation. I'm not about to, I've been in this for 3 years. I've never played internet games with you guys, and I'm not gonna start now.
After months of online chaos, subliminal disses, and explosive interviews, the world turned its attention to a Los Angeles courtroom on December the 12th, 2022, where the long-awaited trial between Megan Thee Stallion, Megan Pete, and Tory Lanez, Daystar Peterson, finally begun. It was no longer about tweets or memes, it was about truth, trauma, and justice. The prosecution opened with a firm narrative. Tory Lanez, wounded by comments made about his rap career during an argument in the car with Megan Thee Stallion, allowed his ego to spiral into rage. According to them, it was this fragile ego that led him to pull the trigger. They argued that Megan's success and her words bruised his ego beyond repair. The defense countered with a drastically different version, a case rooted in jealousy. They claimed, painting Kelsey, the rapper's former best friend and assistant, as the possible shooter. They denied the now infamous line, "Dance, bitch," that was ever uttered. Nobody ever said that. Nobody heard anyone say that. The defense attorney told the jury, pressing the idea that the prosecution story was based on more media speculation than hard facts. But as the trial unfolded, facts began to speak louder than speculations. Forensic experts confirmed that both Tory Lanez and Harris tested positive for gunshot residue. This muddied the waters but did not derail the prosecution's momentum. Witness testimonies and evidence began to build a picture that was as messy as it was tragic, a violent clash fueled by ego, betrayal, and personal entanglements. On December the 13th, the courtroom atmosphere grew heavier as Megan Thee Stallion, dressed in a deep purple power suit, a deliberate choice symbolizing strength and mourning. And as she took the stand, her voice at times steady and at others quivering, cut through the courtroom. She recounted the events of that night in vivid, painful detail. Lanez, she said, tried instigating a fight between her and Kelsey Harris, stoking simmering tensions that had been building beneath the surface. Then came the moment that changed everything. She testified that she saw Tory point the gun and fire at her feet. I couldn't walk for a while, she told the courtroom. Everything felt surreal, like a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. It was her emotional testimony that shook the room. I didn't feel like I wanted to be on this earth, she said, tears streaking down her face. I wish she would have just shot and killed me if I knew I would have to go through this trauma. She spoke about the harassment, the betrayal by once close friends, and the cyberbullying that followed. What should have been a moment of healing was replaced by an avalanche of disbelief and mockery. People didn't protect me, she said. They left. The next day, Kelsey Harris took the stand. It was supposed to be a pivotal moment, but her testimony added more confusion than clarity. When asked directly if she saw Tory Lanez shoot Megan Thee Stallion, she evoked her Fifth Amendment right. The prosecution granted her immunity, yet her reluctance remained. She claimed not to recall much, and even while she texted Megan's bodyguard that night of the shooting with the chilling words, "Help, Tory shot Megan." Prosecutors played a recording of her September interview with them in which she clearly stated that Tory was the shooter, but on the stand, Harris hesitated. She said she was triggered and didn't want to be here. Her demeanor left the courtroom tense and confused. Over the next several days, both sides laid out closing statements. The defense clung to the uncertainty created by Harris' testimony, while the prosecution leaned heavily on Megan's courage to speak out and the forensic evidence that contradicted the defense's claim. After 2 days of deliberation, the jury delivered an anonymous verdict on December the 23rd, guilty on all 3 felony counts: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, carrying a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Tory Lanez sat motionless as the verdict was read. His father erupted in the courtroom, shouting accusations of injustice and corruption before being escorted out. Lanez was immediately taken into custody, his fate sealed by evidence, testimony,